Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome, everybody, back to the podcast. If I haven't said it before, I want to say it again. Thank you for tuning in, for taking a chance on this podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you could spread the word, if you could, subscribe to the YouTube channel, or like the podcast video, or leave a comment. All of that stuff works. I should mention it more often that algorithms are there to push things up to the top, and the more that this podcast gets traction, the more people will see it, the more people will listen, and so on and so forth. But before that can happen, I really need to make sure that I give you guys stuff that you need and that you want to pass on, and so it's also on me to bring the highest quality that I can off the bat. So obviously no obligation, but it'd be really nice. All right, so today's topic, which after talking about very popular subjects, I'm going to be talking about something that I've been thinking about once again for a little bit, is the idea of like a movie poster, or like a poster for a television show, obviously, or even if you're an author and you're just creating like a book cover, like what are the kinds of images that are going to entice people to spend their time and their hard-earned money to click on it, or to if it's the book, you to open it up and give the first page a read. Like what exactly is going to entice people to want to spend that kind of commitment on something that you've created? And I was thinking about this because I was like clicking through Netflix, and I was just looking at the fact that most covers, or most like posters, are really not the actual posters for the films or shows at all, but just pictures of actors. And it makes sense because there's so many different posters on the site that if you put a familiar face on there, that people are more likely to click on it if they know who's in the film or the TV show. So in this digital age, it makes sense to keep your posters simple, to keep them centered around who is in the film and not necessarily what the film is about. But I think there's a lost art in terms of like creating a really compelling movie poster. I've been leaning into reading more comics, and especially the older comics. And something I noticed about the really early stuff is that on the cover they would have some kind of action scene like unfolding, and they would have the heroes being heroes, and then the bad guy, and then they would have like a word bubble, just kind of saying, hey, we're gonna stop you from taking over the world, and the bad guy saying, no you won't, because I'm all powerful, and stuff like that. Obviously a completely different monster in terms of comic books, but I just noticed how, looking at those those cover art, that I'm really excited about the story. I'm like, oh my, I want to see what happens. I want to see like there's this fight happening even before I open the comic book, and I'm already excited. And I was like, that's really interesting, because like the movie posters that came out in the 90s and in the 80s, like there was this excitement around the cover art. Like there was something on there that when you were walking along the aisle at like a Blockbuster, there had to be something compelling. There had to be something where it wasn't just an actor's face, but over time, it's become more and more important just to put an actor's face on there, because people don't really have time to really decipher what a movie's about from the poster. They kind of have to just know who's in it, and from that it's like, oh well, I recognize so and so, so yeah, I'm gonna go watch it. But even with that, the era of the movie star is also starting to kind of go downhill, and there are only a few actors that really can get people excited about watching their movies as well. And so like even that's changing, and so it's like, well, how are we transitioning into getting people excited to like watch what we're making? And I think that's a subject that you kind of don't necessarily think about unless you're the one making the movie or the show. You want to have something that represents what what it is you're making is about, the subject matter, the plot, whatever. But also on the same time, like you also have to think about, well, what is going to be the one element about what I'm making that's going to bring people in. And I've noticed that movie posters have gotten more minimalist as well. Like sometimes all it takes is just one little key prop or key just something that is visually like represents what the movie is going to be about or what the show's going to be about. And I've noticed that, obviously with like Game of Thrones, you have like the sword throne. With it, you have the balloon. There's all kinds of ways in which, especially if it's a built-in audience and you're making a sequel or you're making a reboot, that it's a lot easier for the marketing people to come up with compelling artwork because they know that the audience knows what the property is about, and so so they don't have to work that hard to put in something that is going to signal to the audience that what you're about to see is a reboot of something or is a sequel of something that you've seen before. And so that has also played into this whole minimal like not putting as much work into the poster art. And it's really sad because, like I said, there were some really great pieces of artwork that came out that would be on like the VHS cover or the DVD cover. And I don't know if that's needed anymore, because all you really need, it seems now, is just an actor's picture and that's it. Or like a little, key, like a key prop that the audience is familiar with. Because I don't know about you, but like a lot of posters nowadays just look the same. Like it'll either be like the main character standing in the middle of the poster, and maybe there are some other like side characters, you see their faces like off in the background, or it's always a confrontational, staring at the audience saying, okay, we're big and we're bad and we're gonna do something important to save the world. And it's like, well, okay, that's great, but like we've seen this poster a million times. Like how can you make this more interesting? Is it even worth trying to make it interesting? Because I don't know how often people click on a movie because of the fact of like they like the poster, or if it's just because they see an actor that they know in it. And I don't know. I don't know the answer, because I just know for me that since everything has gone to like this digital platform, that the rules or like the standards at which you bring an audience in is much different now. And a part of that is just sometimes the streaming sites don't actually care about making good poster art because of the fact that you're already on their site. Like all they really need is just for you to keep subscribing for the next month. And that's really all they care about, right? I mean, sure, they want to make good stuff to keep you on the site. Like, they don't want to like minimize the quality of what they're putting out. But also, if they don't have an incentive to make anything like that, like eye-popping, or like to kind of get you excited about a certain property, unless it has something to do, unless they're able to market it outside of their service for people to come to the site and subscribe and keep paying the monthly fee, then why would they make the experience after you've paid your money any any more exciting? And I just yeah, I mean, am I the only one who kind of feels this way? Because like, I really appreciate the someone who can draw a really great like picture, something that's really interesting and intricate. Like, I love when people are able to do that. It's a skill I wish I had, and I've tried to draw things in the past and with minimal success. Like, I'm not going to say that I've like all I draw is stick figures, but there are obviously people who draw things that are way better and way more interesting than I've ever drawn in my entire life. And that also includes like on a digital side, like just making a poster, just taking stills of like actors and being able to like turn it into something and make it a compelling poster. Like, I've tried to do it, but like, that skill is something that's beyond me, and I love people who are able to take things like that and make it into something interesting and to make it into something exciting. Because I mean, like we're in the entertainment industry, so what do we want to do? We want to make sure that at every level, like from the marketing, from the key art, from the poster, from the film, like from the social media, from everywhere, that every part of it is entertaining. Every part of it gets people excited. Every part of it, like, brings people in and wants to be a part of the world in which we're creating. And I don't know, like, did we just forget about that? Did we kind of say, well, the movie poster isn't that important anymore, so yeah, the people don't care? But I think on a subliminal, like in a subconscious kind of way, like those things may seem like small and insignificant, but they actually play into the whole, the overall, I guess, life of what you're creating. Like, every piece of what you create related to that property that you're trying to make is important. So that also counts for, the movie poster, the all the artwork around it, and I don't see people, or that, not people, but like companies don't really care that much about it, or they don't care much about it unless there's a demand for like more interesting posters. And it's like, heck, even if you go on IMDb, like you just look at what's come out in the last like month, and like there's nothing that really is that exciting to see in terms of like the poster art. Like, there are a few things where it's like, well, that's kind of interesting, that kind of looks like something I might want to see, but in terms of like, like making it exciting, it's like it's not that exciting. it's just okay, here's your actor and here's a bunch of stuff happening around them. Like, okay, but why do I want to like click on this film? Because like there's nothing about what you're showing me that's exciting, except for like you're hoping that I want to see this actor in this, so I don't know, guys. That's what I had in mind for today, because I think it's an art that is being lost, and I know that, like, people who are really excited about properties will just create their own, and they'll do their own kind of like version of a poster. I mean, there's plenty of like alternate posters of famous films that are like very minimalist and they're cool and they have their own style, and then there's the people who do like intricate drawings and paintings of the things that they love, and so in a way like fans are still engaged with it. But in terms of like the people who are making this stuff, it seems like they just lack any kind of excitement about their own property, and that they're hoping that somebody else is going to come along who's way more creative than they are and to make something cool out of something they made. And it's like, no, it's not the fans' job to create exciting exciting images around what you're making. It's your job. You're the creative person. You're the one who needs to like keep the excitement going by generating these things. And when I say that, I'm saying that to myself as well, because like that's a habit that I need to put into my own my own workflow, is just to remember that when I'm writing a script or when I'm directing a film, that I need to keep the marketing of it in mind as well, not to compromise the story I'm trying to tell, but to find interesting ways in which I can elevate what it is I'm making, so that when it comes time to advertise it, it's already been in the stew, so to speak. It's already been in my thought process. It's already something that is natural, that like comes forth from what it is I'm trying to make. And there are filmmakers out there who like that is in their creative process, like already. Like when they're writing a script, they're already thinking of a scene that they're going to put in their trailer. They're like, this is my trailer scene, this is another trailer scene, this is another trailer scene. And then some people, they also may have like a prop where they're like, this is going to be a prop that I plan to turn into a toy, and so this is very important that that I'm able to incorporate this into the film, so that I can have it as like a Kickstarter giveaway or something. Like they're building that marketing. They're building the I can never say the word ancillary. There we go. Ancillary parts of the film are already built in from its inception, from the writing of it, and that's actually really exciting, because I for a while I kind of fought that. It felt fake. It felt like, oh man, this is just marketing, it's not it's not from a true place of like creativity. And it's like, no, it actually is, because you're creating, you're still creating, but you're creating so that you have someplace to go after you're done with the story, or so that you have even more things to share with the audience, who if the film is popular enough, or if the series is popular enough, that they're gonna want to be a part of it even more. And so like, why would you not want to like build more things in that people can engage with? And that's actually really exciting. And like I said, I need to build that into my own creative process when I'm creating something, to figure out ways in which I can, like what happens after the thing is done, like what else can be created from this, not in terms of just profit, but just in terms of like just like I said, getting people excited about the story and wanting to be a part of the story and wanting to engage more with the characters, and like what else can be done. And if it's done right, oh my gosh, you're gonna have you're gonna have a fan base who's gonna be there for the next thing you make. And if the next thing you make is based on the first thing you made, they're gonna be there for that. And it's just this growing cycle of like building an audience. And I know I'm getting off topic, but a part of that is just the initial images, the initial like poster art is a part of that. And if you don't think about that, if you don't consider that as something really important in your creative process of what it is you're making, then it's just going to drown in the very drab movie posters that are out there, and it's not going to generate any excitement. It's not going to stand out from the rest of the millions upon millions of content that's out there. Make something interesting, make something different. And I know some people don't have a choice. Like when you sell your film or you sell your series, it's like, it's that whoever's going to be distributing that, your film is going to make their own art, and they have their own kind of standard about how they're going to market it, and that's also a part of it too. But I really wish that they would create more interesting movie posters, because they're kind of starting to just not be interesting. They're just like, oh, this is not, I don't know if I want to see this because it looks like 500 other movie posters I see on this streaming site, and who cares? So maybe I'm being too unrealistic about it, but I love being able to to be excited about stuff, and I think the movie poster is a part of that whole building of excitement around what it is you're making. So anyway, guys, once again, thank you for listening. I hope I gave you a little food for thought. Maybe, you haven't looked at movie posters the way that I do, and now you're like, oh, that's interesting. You're bringing up a good point. Or maybe you're like, dude, you're full of crap. It's marketing. Get over it. So either way, let me know. I got the Facebook page, I got an email, all that stuff after I'm done here with the tag audio. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. And also, if you want to connect with me, I have a email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. Also, I have a Twitter account for the podcast where I post episodes, and that is @title_Tim. And you can find also on the Facebook page, I have a page for the podcast, so you can connect with me there. Looking forward to hearing from all of you, and until then, I'll catch you on the next one.